More pork imports are set to arrive amid the ongoing price hikes brought about by the African swine fever crisis. The Agriculture Department insists this will not hurt the local hog industry. The first day of the oral arguments on the anti-terror law ended on a high note, with Supreme Court Associate Justice Leonen questioning the ripeness of the 37 petitions challenging the controversial statute. The proposed economic charter change hurdles the House panel. Plenary debates are set to kick off by mid-February. And the COMELEC is eyeing to ban face-to-face campaigning for the 2022 elections. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. We begin today's newscast with the Interagency Task Force confirming that Metro Manila hospitals will receive the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines. In an interview with One News's The Chiefs, IATF co-chairperson Carlo Nograles reiterated that the initial batch of Pfizer vaccines will be allocated for the NCR. That's because cold chain facilities that can handle Pfizer's storage requirements are already available in the metro. However, Nograles clarified that the vaccines are going to be given to medical frontliners only and not to their families. On the other hand, authorities are still undecided whether they will also send Pfizer doses to Metro Cebu and Davao.
Definitely NCR, obviously. But Cebu and Davao, kasi kung konti lang yung doses, I don't know kasi some people in the group are saying, why don't we do in Cebu and Davao para lang masubukan na, ma-testing na doon. At ma-testing na yung preparations ng Cebu and Davao. So again, it's nothing definite as far as Cebu and Davao is concerned, but it's something that's being made part of the conversation.
Meanwhile, citing a recent UST survey, infectious disease expert Benjamin Ko says a majority of doctors want to get vaccinated for COVID-19. However, that same survey also revealed that even doctors are not willing to get the shot if this comes from China.
If you rolled out a China-made vaccine, are they willing to get?
Yes.
That's where the discrepancy is. Yes, I am, but not China. You can't just say, na, all right, a lot of people will want to get immunized, but if you're rolling out something that's coming out of something that I don't want to get first, then you're going to have a problem.
More pork imports are set to arrive in the Philippines soon. Speaking with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Agriculture Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes said that the government is importing about 1 million kilos of pork products. That is amid the shortage of pork products in the country caused by the African swine fever. However, Reyes insists that this will not affect the local hog industry.
Mura po ang landed cost, pero logistics cost plus at kasi ipi-freezer pa rin yan, frozen po yan darating. So nasa 270 to 300 din ang presyo niyan. So hindi magko-compete sa local fresh produce from Visayas and Mindanao in some parts of Luzon. In case of broiler, marami po tayong broiler. Okay? So pork lang po talaga ang masikip.
Reyes added that the department is earmarking 500 million pesos to provide loan assistance for backyard and semi-commercial hog raisers. That's on top of teaming up with other countries to potentially secure ASF vaccines.
Wala pa po tayong ASF vaccine dito. What we're saying is that there has been a vaccine developed by USDA and now is being tested in Vietnam. And secondly, sa UK, sa isang institute doon ng Animal Institute sa Pittsburgh ay nakadevelop din sila ng kanilang vaccine. We are coordinating with Vietnam and UK, United Kingdom, for us to buy some samples for clinical and field testing here. So we're looking at in the February or March to get those samples.
Despite the deferment of the price ceiling, retailers warned that they might just go out of business. The real problem on rising pork and chicken prices is not addressed. Shaila Francisco tells us more.
The Agriculture Department has deferred the implementation of a price cap on pork and chicken in wet markets across Metro Manila. The DA says the 60-day price cap will instead be implemented beginning February 8. The 7-day grace period was given to allow meat dealers and retailers to adjust and recover their capital from the existing inventory.
Parang ating mga meat dealers din po, they will be able to dispose of the meat that they bought at 285 pesos,
Yes.
di ba? So by the time matapos ang ating grace period, nakabili na sila ng mas murang carcass. With that, bababa na rin po ang presyo ng kasim tsaka liempo sa palengke.
The move comes after retailers admitted that they won't be able to comply with the order. Some retailers are considering to close their shops instead of operating at a loss, while others are planning to defy the order.
Baka bukas makalawa, tigil na kung talagang hindi uubra eh. Di ba mahinga muna kami kaysa malugi kami.
Hindi namin susundin yung 160 kasi namumuhunan kami ng 160. Opo. Hindi naman kami overpricing.
Kung anong presyo ng dadasaran namin sa kinukuha namin baboy, basta kami hindi kanya bababa. Magtinda pa rin kami, ganun pa rin yung presyo namin.
Even traders and dealers are looking at halting the transport of meat products in Metro Manila.
Nag-usap kami mga traders, mga biyahero, kami mga taga-slaughterhouse. O sige, ubusin na lang natin itong stock natin. Stop na muna tayo sa biyahe.
Both retailers and traders say they will only be able to comply with the order if farm gate prices are lowered. In response, chicken and pork producers say high production costs are making it hard for them to adjust farm gate prices. Producers say for now, the acceptable price cap for chicken should be at 180 pesos and the suggested retail price of 330 to 360 pesos for pork. If not, pork producers fear there might be a shortage of pork in Metro Manila, which will further increase prices.
Okay, kung linggong ito, sigurado mararamdaman yan pagka yung presyo yun susundin. Sino magbebentang retailer? Sino trader sa magbibiyay sa inyo? Papuntang Metro Manila. Oh. Tapos, parusa ngayon sa magbababoy. Lahat magbabawas ng alaga. Baka lalong mawala ng supply ng baboy ang Metro Manila.
To assist retailers, the DA says it will subsidize logistics to lower transport costs during the 60-day price cap. They are also open to the Trade Department's proposal to impose a price cap on wholesalers and traders. Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
Yesterday's oral arguments on the anti-terror law ended on a high note. Out of 37 petitioners, only 7 representatives were allowed to deliver their arguments before the 15 magistrates. One petitioner is Albay Representative Edsel Lagman, who argued that the provision on a 14-day detention without a warrant is unconstitutional. Human rights lawyer Chel Diokno, on the other hand, argued that if the Anti-Terrorism Act existed back in 1986, then Archbishop Cardinal Sin's call for people power would have easily qualified as inciting to terrorism.
If this law had existed in 1986, Archbishop Cardinal Sin's call for people power would easily qualify as inciting to terrorism.
Justice Marvic Leonen says he understands the fears of the petitioners because he himself experienced this back when he was still a public interest lawyer. But Leonen did question whether the petitions were ripe.
Whatever the intentions were in this provision, isn't it the role of the judiciary to give a chance to the political department to be able to address the harm that they wish to address before we come out immediately on a theoretical point to actually to annul that provision?
Your Honor, my humble submission is that deference, judicial restraint ends where the Bill of Rights begins.
Some lawmakers are confident that the proposal to amend economic provisions of the Constitution will soon receive a green light at the plenary. This after the resolution pushing for charter change hurdled the committee level. Ria Fernandez with the story.
With a vote of 64 yeses, 3 noes, and 3 abstains, the House panel on constitutional amendments approved a resolution seeking to amend the 1987 Constitution. It has been 34 years to this day since the supreme law of the land was ratified.
Congratulations. Happy Constitution Day to all of you.
The resolution of both houses, number 2, filed by Speaker Lord Velasco, will tinker with the supposedly restrictive economic provisions of the Constitution. Using the phrase unless otherwise provided by law, Congress arrogates itself the freedom to tinker with the Constitution with a simple majority vote. Former Supreme Court Associate Justice Adolfo Ascuna had earlier reminded lawmakers to be cautious with this move.
The phrase unless otherwise provided by law must be strategically located so that what is restricted and what the restriction that is removed is only the flexible portion of the policy and not the permanent protective principle. For instance, the principle that we should protect our marine life, our marine territories.
But not all proposals under the resolution made it past the committee. The panel dropped the proposal allowing foreigners to own private land in the country. This follows the motion of Committee Vice Chairperson Lawrence Defensor. Panel Chairperson Alfredo Garbin Jr. says they target to set the resolution for plenary debates mid-February. They intend to vote separately from the Senate. That means 3/4, or 225 representatives, have to vote yes to adopt the proposed chacha in the lower chamber. Rizal Representative Jack Duavit, who also heads the Nationalist People's Coalition in the House, is optimistic that chacha will hurdle the plenary.
You take it one step at a time. And that's why we deliberate. No. But do I think we can get the 3/4 vote dito sa House? Yes, I think so.
But he noted there might be changes in the current form of the proposed amendments. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
House Constitutional Amendments Chairman Alfredo Garbin says it's possible for the Economic Chacha resolution to get the plenary's approval before Holy Week. On 1PH's Wag Po, Garbin pointed out that the arguments brought up during the committee deliberations have all been raised before. He added that if only a few lawmakers would raise questions against the resolution during the debates, then the measure could even be passed on third and final reading before the end of the month and could then be transmitted to the Senate.
Siguro, sinerte naman tayo at nakita natin that there's this desirability, consensus of amending the same, and that's why we were able to approve it in the Committee on Constitutional Amendment. At sana naman, nagtitiwala naman ako sa leadership ni Speaker na pag na-refer ito sa plenaryo ay makukuha natin yung 3/4 vote of all members of House of Representatives.
The lawmaker also clarified that the House and Senate will vote separately on the proposal instead of having a joint vote. Garbin assures the public that there will be no so-called ninja provisions once the proposal reaches the plenary.
Anyone who will attempt to insert political provisions or political proposals will be declared out of order. Dahil hindi naman po yun related doon sa RBH 2.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. The Philippine Star reports the COMELEC is eyeing to ban face-to-face campaigning for the May 2022 general elections. That is if the COVID-19 pandemic will still be around by next year. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez says candidates may resort to online campaigning, but they will have to coordinate first with the IATF. This from Pangmasa, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana clarified that there will be no coup d'etat or military takeover against the Duterte administration. Lorenzana said this in response to a reporter's question on its probability as the military coup in Myanmar escalates. The defense chief noted that the military and the police are, quote, happy under President Duterte. And the liquor ban is back in public places in Cebu City starting today. The Freeman reports that Mayor Edgardo Labella signed the executive order for the re-implementation of the ban. The LGU clarified that hotels, resorts, and other accommodation establishments are exempted, but they are only allowed to serve liquor for in-house guests. Here are the stories to watch out for later today. The PNP will submit all of its available evidence related to Christine Dacera's case to the Makati Prosecutor's Office. The Health Department will visit Valenzuela to check out the city's preparedness for the arrival of COVID-19 vaccines. Secretary Francisco Duque himself will lead the inspection. And the United States hits another milestone, with more people receiving COVID-19 shots than those testing positive for the virus. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.